Awesome. Okay, cool. Good to see you, Rita. What's up,
Good to see
everybody?
you.
This is the beginning of our regular weekly live stream. Anybody is welcome to join. We meet once a week and we take a course or part of a course, and we also do a goal that is unique to each of the members. I will work with you to establish this goal if you join it. So feel free to join. This is a way for me to connect more on a more personal level with my audience. I find that it's more beneficial to put yourself out there and actually have conversations with people than it is to just make comments and respond to things like this. So I highly encourage any of you listening, especially if you're looking at these live streams. Not many people who watch my YouTube channel actually look at the live streams. If you're watching them, chances are you would actually benefit a lot more from just literally joining them and getting to know everybody and showing your face more. This is going to increase a lot of the benefit that you'll get from this kind of situation. And I'd actually like to ask Rita, if you could you explain like what it's been like for you being part of a group that meets regularly? Because you're one of the people who's participated in more frequently than anyone else I've worked with. So I think you have experience to talk about why it is that you do that. What benefit do you find? What do you struggle with, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, one question at a time. I won't remember all that. But what it's been like is I enjoy the call, which is very important because if you don't enjoy it, you won't keep coming. Um, it kind of gives me something to look forward to because I like to communicate my dreams and what I'm working on. And real life friends and family, they're not mean to me or anything about it, but they're just being polite. Sometimes they're not super interested because they're on a different path. Maybe they just have a regular 9 to 5 job, which is fine, but they may not have any aspirations to do anything more, or if they do, they're not really ready to move forward with it yet. So it's really nice to talk to other people who are, looking to do some different things, I guess, with online, mainly online businesses such as content creation and day trading and these different things that we've talked about, just, having a website, things like
Using
that.
recent technology to make money.
Yeah. So, struggles as far as this call, no struggles. I do supplement because I am a client of Jack's. I call him every 2 weeks to check in and just talk about, more in depth about my goals and get his thoughts and things like that. So that's been really helpful. And, he's got some experience. He's been doing online businesses for a while and he knows a lot of people. And so between his own experience and the people he's worked with and talked to, I think he really provides a lot of good advice, I guess, if that's the right word, guidance.
Maybe well-rounded. I think that that's the
Yeah,
main thing I try and offer people is that I'm perfectly capable of saying that I don't know something and that I'm not experienced with it, but this is what a lot of people talk about. These are the places you can go to learn about something. I'm really not trying to push myself as someone who has like a lot of the answers. I'm just a force
no,
that can
no, and
help
that's
you develop more.
yeah, and that's why I hesitated to use the word advice. It's probably not the right word, just we can talk it over. And I mean, I don't want. I like the idea of avoiding pitfalls. Like if something's not going to work for me, I don't want to do it. I've done plenty of that. I want to try to cut through uh,
You don't
some
want to
things.
waste your time.
Yeah, if I can learn from someone else's experience, I'd rather do that than have to go through it myself.
When
So,
applicable.
yeah, when
For
possible.
some things to really stick, though, you gotta feel them yourself, especially when it's a path of less convenience. That's usually how it goes. We go down the more convenient paths, and then we're like, oh, I heard about that less convenient one, but this one's more convenient. And then we get screwed, and we're like, okay, I guess I'll try the other way now.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. So, yeah, that's about it. That's all I can really think of, unless there was something else you asked that I missed.
I think you explained this well. So I'm going to start while we wait for Bray to get here. I apologize because one of my eyes is all screwed up right now. and I have been cooking Korean fried chicken, which involves a lot of cutting chili peppers and these kind of things. So this has exacerbated how this eye is right now, and I'm like struggling to keep it open and it's seeing differently. But it
Oh,
was a really
geez.
interesting experience actually, because today I I don't really go out of the house too much. Like each day I will go and like get groceries. I'll try and leave the house once, right? But particularly recently, I've been focused more on like the stuff I'm trying to work on. I haven't been like socializing and hanging out with people very much. But one of my neighbors recently asked to cook this certain kind of fried chicken that I'd made once from watching YouTube videos. And so that was really cool because there was this moment where he went out and I was like, oh, I haven't done the thing yet. I got to make that video. He's going to be back soon. And I was like, fuck it, just make the video now. Just do it. And then I did it, but only because I thought I was in a time restraint. And then he got back like an hour and a half, 2 hours later. And that had given me enough time to do all of the things that I had been putting off. So, like, in my mind now, there's nothing that I didn't do over the past week. It just took up until this point. Like if we had done the call yesterday, which is one of the reasons I postponed it, I wouldn't have had created the video and started the Spanish translation process, um, which is one of the reasons I chose to postpone it. But I did that today, and I also got an experience, which is good because I need to get more comfortable in Spanish. That's realistically, the biggest obstacle about this Spanish content website that I'm working on is that I don't know Spanish. And I have to kind of trick myself into not thinking that getting that comfortable is a big obstacle, right? Because realistically, that is where all the work is. Everything else is just minor. It's like, do I use Squarespace or Wix or WordPress? WordPress, okay. That's a pretty easy solution compared to understanding how to sound confident in another language. So I really need to be practicing this more, and I've been aware that I haven't really been doing that. But this was a perfect experience because obviously everyone here speaks Spanish, so showing my neighbors how to do this recipe while speaking in Spanish gave me that exact thing I was looking for. And it's really funny how sometimes in order to be your most productive, you have to pay attention to your goals, but at the same time, you also have to keep in mind when the world is giving you an opportunity to learn something that is actually very relevant that you just didn't anticipate, right? And so I found myself in an interesting position because I had to pick. I was like, okay, do I work with my neighbor and get experience talking Spanish and cook with him? Or do I do the work so that I had met my goal? And I decided that I would do the stuff with my neighbor. But then it didn't matter because he went to the grocery store and I did everything. But that decision gave me a lot of freedom. And I'm very happy that I'm able to decide these things because that's something that I wasn't really able to do before. I was always just torn no matter what I decided to do, and I would feel frustrated. And I'm not really sure what's changed to make that better, but I'm trying to share it more. Just be positive with people and all that. How's your week gone, Rita?
Hi, sorry, I had to unmute myself. My week's gone good. You had, well, one of my challenges was to make a YouTube video.
You made a lot of videos. You blew that out of the water. You were like,
Yeah,
you want to make one video, and then you made like three.
at least because I made a couple for one channel, which is called What Sold on eBay, and then I made a few for the dog sitter life channel. So I'm gonna do what you said. I'm gonna have those two, and then I'm probably gonna have just maybe another one just from my personal rants or whatever. Just I just want to jabber on about something, and there's something addicting about it. I think if you're a certain kind of person, maybe everybody, but you always want to be heard,
Yeah,
and sometimes
have an
maybe not
outlet.
everybody wants. Yeah, it's not that I don't have any friends, but it's just like they don't want to hear everything. They don't want me to just jabber on for an hour necessarily. So it just, yeah, and I can do it anytime I want. I don't have to wait. I can just do it whenever I have time and I feel like it. And it doesn't preclude me from also talking to a friend about things, but, just it's very convenient to be able to put it out there and then, whoever sees it, sees it. or hears it, So yeah, I like it. I'm just going at my own pace. I still don't show my face, but I'm learning. Now I know how to do I know how to, make a video, and then I know how to share my screen now. I got a screen sharing app on my phone, which I didn't even know you could do that on a phone. For
You can
some
do
reason, I thought you had.
anything now with apps and
Yeah,
phones.
yeah.
It's
I thought it was
amazing.
only on a regular computer that you could do stuff like that. So that was good. I should have known that, but whatever.
What's
And
up,
then,
Ray?
I also learned how to change my, what do you call it, my thumbnail, so I can do a good thumbnail. So little things, you just learn little things as you go, and this is what you talked about, Jack. You just kind of learn as you go, and it doesn't have to be perfect right away. It's never going to be perfect, but
No.
it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just keep learning.
Good to see you, Bray.
Hi,
Hey, how's
Bray.
it going?
Awesome,
How's it
man.
going?
Whoa, you're not in a car.
Yeah, I know.
What?
I'm in Starbucks, man.
Oh, I loved Starbucks. I worked
Yeah.
there for a while.
How was it? How was it?
I personally, okay, I was a bit biased because I got Starbucks was the job I got to have a flexible job while I figured out how to earn money online. So
Right.
I knew what I was getting into, and a lot of my coworkers would complain, and I had had other retail jobs, and personally, like, okay, Starbucks is a retail job, but you get exposed to a very well trained professional environment and at least like documentation. There's a lot of training and stuff that just doesn't happen in most places that they at least try and do. And there are a lot of side benefits. You get stock, you get highly encouraged to become more aware of like how the rest of the business works, where the coffee comes from, and all that information, like there's no reason you can't use that if you want to like open a coffee shop or anything. Like Starbucks educates their employees. They really focus on that. And they also focus on flexibility. Typically the flexibility is used for school. And in my case, I didn't use it for school. I was using the flexibility for the online stuff. And there were points where I had like side gigs from my landlord and another opportunity that were paying me like double or triple. And I pretty much just stopped working at Starbucks. I worked like a day a week there, 2 days a week for like 2 or 3 months. And that was the first period in my life where I was actually earning like good money for my amount of time and I had a lot of free time. But it only lasted like 2 months. And then it went away because I lost both of those situations. But that experience was like, whoa, it's so much more uplifting if you just earn more money. It was nice.
Right, right. I like the whole idea of
But I loved Starbucks. It was great.
okay, okay,
I
okay.
missed the
Yeah, I like
barista
I,
work.
I like the culture. I like the culture out here.
It's not Starbucks culture though. It's coffee shop culture. Because really, like all the other coffee shops, if you want to go to a place that has internet and a more productive vibe and a less quiet vibe, then coffee shops are usually a go-to. They're great regardless of what country you're in. They
Okay.
exist all over the world. It's great.
What y'all getting into this morning? I know y'all started about 10 minutes ago.
I was sharing that I met my goal the very last minute. I definitely postponed the call because I hadn't done it yet. And I knew I'd be better off if I gave myself another day. And then there was an interesting point where I had to make a decision because my neighbor wanted to cook fried chicken, like Korean fried chicken, this way that I had made off of a YouTube video a couple weeks ago. And he normally doesn't interact. And this is like a Spanish interaction, right? So realistically, every time I get an opportunity like that, when someone reaches out, I should say yes so I can get more comfortable with Spanish. And I know I need to throw myself into this. But I was like, but then if I don't do that, then I won't be able to get that video published, and then I won't be able to meet the thing that I said. But really, I feel quite happy because this is an indication that this is the exact right kind of goal. There's something about goal setting where you can just set a goal that's something you're probably going to do already and get the satisfaction of doing the thing that you say. But really, you benefit more if you're pushing yourself. If you are really trying to do something that you wouldn't necessarily do, that you can do in one period of time that makes your work easier or your future better, it's preparatory work, right? These kind of things are usually the most beneficial. And me looking back, there's a lot of times where that is what led to me having a productive product created, right? So it's been really interesting because now I don't know if I communicated this to you guys, but I also am joining more of Chris's calls, and he's changed the way that structure works so that they set up a goal on Monday, and then they discuss their goal on Friday. So it's similar to what we're doing, where we meet once and we talk about our goal and the previous, except they have that split up into two calls basically, where one they talk about what they're gonna do, and one where they just talk about what they did, basically, right? So this has been interesting for me because I have to now set goals twice, right? And of course, I could just say the same things, but that doesn't push myself or stretch myself.
Yeah, that's not challenging.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so easy too, because I can always justify, like in this case, I've worked loads over the past week on the Spanish content website. I really have developed like my understanding of how WordPress works. I've taken multiple courses relevant to it. I like the course that we took. I'll talk about this later, but I didn't actually end up liking that course much at all. I took another course that was really amazing as well, and it was really really informative, and it helped me understand that if you really understand what your website looks like, you should be able to just look and you can see a picture of it in one image. You know the entire website. You know everywhere that people's eyes will go. And now I understand that's what I need to achieve. That's the specific thing I need to understand and develop in order to make this Spanish content website the best that it can be. Um, I'm really excited about this. What about you, Bray? How was your week?
Well, you caught me eating there, but it was great. It was great. I was able to finish my goal of getting my course posted onto Udemy, so that was great. I got everything approved, and it's finally on there. So I'm still adding more videos to it, and think about doing another course probably in a couple weeks after I completely
That's a
finish
good
this
pace.
course. Do
It's
another
good. It's
course.
good to like realistically, if you're putting a course out every 2 months or every 3 months, you're doing good, and within like 2 years, it'll be reliable. Um,
Okay.
like it's important to focus on polishing your courses, but at the same time there's a big benefit to having a bunch of courses so that you can compare the metrics of different courses, because that's really valuable, is for you to understand like what does a course that's performing well look like in the very beginning, because Udemy in particular is a really long-term platform. Like it's completely possible to publish a course that becomes something that earns thousands of dollars a month, it doesn't start off that way, that spends a year earning like $10 a month. Like that happens. It's kind of how their platform works. And one of the benefits is that the more courses you have, then it's like the more possibilities you have to acquire a student. So Udemy rewards you having a lot of content in that way. But it rewards you by increasing the chance that one or two of your courses really show like the majority of your income. And that's pretty typical if you look at like Udemy income sheets on YouTube from people who do it full time. Usually they have a lot of courses, but two or three of their courses account for the majority of all of the money that they earn. And that is pretty typical. Very few people have like hundreds of courses and they all perform the same. That is like almost unheard of.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I have to think about that and get to it.
So what was that like? Like when so this is the first time you published a Udemy course, right? So that probably took a day or two for them to review it.
Yep. Yep. It did. It took them actually about 3 days. They say about 2 business days. So depending on when they get it, I guess. And yeah. And I used their cover photo that they gave me, and it's all right. It's all right. You know, I seen somebody else who has like pretty much the exact same cover photo as me. So I was like, oh, these guys here.
You can
But
always
it's all
change
right.
it later.
Yeah.
That's one thing
Yeah.
that's nice about Udemy is you're free to just like you can replace content with whatever you want. People don't really like it if you delete a bunch of content because then they feel like they lost it. They had an opportunity to download it basically, right? Um, but you have the flexibility to just replace entire files with new lectures over and over and over again. Udemy's not going to really do much about it.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna ask you about something. Trying to remember, it was something about the course. Oh. I guess we'll talk about it later about the how we did with the course and stuff with the WordPress course.
Is there anything we can transition into that now if you want?
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, it was funny. I was already beginning watching that course, and yeah, I could see why you didn't like it. It was pretty basic, and I pretty much knew most of the stuff already just from tinkering around trying to do WordPress myself
The first
before.
third of it was like that. The last part of it was pretty useful. But
Yeah,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, she definitely should have put beginners or something like that. It kind of seemed like it was supposed to be a crash course where it can show you a little bit, some advancement, but she tried to pack, information in there in 1 hour. So she has another course too. So that's probably what that course was leading up to another course.
Yeah, we could.
It was like an
So
overview, I would say.
say again.
I would say it was kind of like an overview.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
Yep.
it. An overview of an introduction to making a website in an hour.
There we go. There we go.
Maybe we could adopt a policy of just taking Skillshare original classes, because there are a lot of them. I think there's a couple hundred. And as long as we're looking at stuff about digital content, they're always going to be available, and they're typically going to be higher quality. Obviously, there are ones that are great that aren't Skillshare originals, but um, I think for the purpose of the group and for people watching, it'll be better if the courses we're taking are more interesting, because then if that just increases the chance that people watching take the course that we're talking about, right? And in the future, I'm not saying this is the direction that this group can go, but it is possible where we get like affiliate income from reviewing courses as a group and that kind of thing. There's ways to make money doing that and still be able to integrally just review content that you're consuming, because in my eyes that's the golden egg, is to be able to consume content and learn from it and then make something monetized and move on to new interests. That's like the
Yeah.
cycle.
Yes. Love it.
So what you shared a bit of how you felt earlier, Rita, but it was actually before we started the live stream. So how did you feel about the part of the course you took? What were your takeaways? What was your experience like?
Well, a lot of review. And maybe if I had kept going, then I wouldn't be as worried about it. But I mean, I did learn for one thing, since I don't know exactly when they came out with this Beaver Builder thing, but I hadn't used that before. So it looks like they've improved their service a lot with that. Looks a little more user friendly than whatever I was using. They had a page builder, but it wasn't the same one. So that's new. And yeah, it's just there were some things on there I hadn't seen before. Will I remember it? I don't know. But sometimes it's just good to know what's possible, and
Yeah,
then you can always look it up later. But if you
yeah,
don't know something's possible, then you're at a disadvantage. But some of the things will stick in my mind, like, oh, I can do this with a photo. I just have to look it up, figure it out again. So that's what I like. I like seeing what the possibilities are with the sites. So yeah,
it's funny
it's
you
good.
mentioned that concept, because that's the one of the focuses of the Spanish content website is how do I better understand what Nicaraguan people go through, particularly those who might be interested in self-employment, um, and how do I make concepts in a way that they can grab onto them, how they relate to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes it might take months or years before it sinks in. Like you said, it just,
You gotta convince people it's possible. That part.
yeah. And I don't know if it's that different
Important.
from Nicaraguans. Like you said before, human beings are very similar in a lot of ways. And so it's kind of like what you were saying about Wheeling, Virginia. There's a mindset that's gotten in there, probably because of a lot of job loss and things like that that are going on there. And it's for different reasons, but the feeling of kind of, to some extent, some hopelessness sometimes, not seeing the possibilities. I don't think it's that different. It's just
Yeah, it's true.
a different flavor. And there's going to be some people that are going to get it and some people aren't, just like in the United States. Even people in California, where I am, they're probably a little more open to certain things than maybe somebody in the Midwest or down south or whatever. But there's still tons of people in California who will never, they'll always do their 9 to 5 because they're more comfortable doing that. So, it's not that different. Some are going to do it and some aren't, it's just the way it is.
That's funny, Rita, because when I moved to California, I was kind of figuring like everybody was going to be on their phones and posting stuff. This is the technology state. And it's just like you said, it's the same everywhere. Some people get it, some people do it, some people see the opportunity, and some people don't.
There's an inordinately large number of people around us.
Yes. Yes. I was going to ask you too, what do you think about Udemy and Skillshare different business model? Because, Skillshare does it by the monthly payments and stuff. And even with their free, when you got the free account, there's no ads on there or anything like that. So most of their revenue and is coming directly from the memberships.
Yeah.
Whereas Udemy, they can pretty much
Yeah, it's one-time
upsell,
purchases.
combine courses, do promotions, and it's very cool seeing both of the dynamics. But I'm kind of like a little worried for Skillshare. Like I know they're definitely playing the long game, but it's like, are they going to make it to the long game?
Well, Skillshare focuses almost exclusively on the experience for the student. And that's important to understand. Skillshare is a platform that amateur course instructors can publish on, but it is not a platform that is friendly to amateur course instructors. Udemy is a platform that's friendly to them. You can start from nothing and create Udemy courses and keep creating courses and make a full-time living doing that. And you can be banned on Udemy, but they do almost always follow through with a strike process. You will know that you're getting closer to being banned. They don't just issue random bannings normally. The situations where it becomes gray with Udemy is when you are having shares in other courses. So you co-instruct courses with other people, because it's possible for people who are part of this to claim that you're being unethical or something, and it complicates things. That's how Jerry Banfield got banned. But he produced ridiculous amounts of courses, like so many courses, before he got banned. Like it's in the hundreds. So his situation shows it is possible, but realistically, Udemy isn't likely to ban you. They are much more friendly towards a wider variety of different subjects. You can teach about dropshipping content. You can teach about relationships. You can teach about pretty much whatever you want on Udemy, whereas you can't on Skillshare. Skillshare really, it's a platform that is great for the students. The instructors benefit more when they're already well known, and Skillshare invites them to be part of the platform for some reason. Skillshare doesn't view that kind of content the same as the content that just amateur instructors create, and there's a lot of evidence of people like myself. Chris also got banned the exact same way that I did. He was able to get back because Skillshare's they had a connection with another affiliator, and that affiliator reached out to Chris, and then Chris was like, yeah, I'll work for you, but Skillshare banned me. And then the affiliator was like, hey, Skillshare, you guys banned him. And then they were like, oh, okay, unban. And then, so, you know, but that's only because of his large YouTube channel. And that's the thing about Skillshare. Like, it's almost misleading because they portray themselves as being really good. And I thought that it seemed like it was really good for a beginning instructor. But it's like good for a beginning instructor to teach you how to create courses, but not to reimburse you properly at all for it. Because you get paid so little per minute that people watch you that you're almost always better off. Like if all of that content was free on YouTube, that would affect your life in a more positive way than it being on Skillshare and slowly getting watched and you being reimbursed a little bit for it. It's easier to get attention in the beginning, but I see now that kind of is because it's not as financially viable, so it's just not as competitive. People aren't as interested in creating Skillshare courses. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I think it's actually possible to create a gate that protects you from the risk associated with sharing affiliate links, because theoretically, you can share an affiliate link of someone else's course. So I think you could make accounts that are set up as shell accounts to be affiliates for your course, and you get paid through them. And then if whatever reason Skillshare bans one of them, that account just gets banned instead of the course. However, I'm not sure if that's viable. The main thing that it hinges on is that Skillshare allows you to share an affiliate link of someone else's course on Skillshare. And I think it does just because Skillshare isn't they're not buying your course versus my course. They're signing up for membership. So if another course signs them up for membership or you brought them, I think you get credit for that. And then the key there would be to just make sure that Skillshare doesn't, it's possible they have some automated systems to prevent this kind of stuff, but based on how easy it was for me to just create a new account and use Skillshare, and I just literally replaced the affiliate link on the videos that they told me that they know about. I just replaced it with a different one, and I get credit for those signups on this new account, and long enough that I've actually gotten reimbursed for it. So now I have the next 6 months free, and there's 13 or 14 months pending that haven't been paid for yet, which is really interesting because that seems to indicate that they have very little blacklisting or very primitive blacklisting. And I kind of assumed that they would have the same kind of security regarding their accounts as eBay, but eBay in general has more of an incentive to prevent people from making new accounts, whereas on Skillshare, they're less incentivized to do that because it's not as common that someone who creates courses is just going to make new accounts. It's more common that someone who's just trying to sell something, especially with arbitrage and all that, is going to just create new accounts, right? It's kind of a different industry that way. But I don't think Skillshare is that advanced, but definitely would need more testing. But theoretically, there are ways that it's just like eBay, where if you rely on one account, then yes, it's unstable. But if you set your account up so that your risk is spread out and you know the system's way of identifying and linking different courses and stuff, then perhaps it's possible to make content on Skillshare and get the referral money, because that's if you can earn $100 off of people watching your content, you can earn $1,000 to $10,000 off of people referring to Skillshare. It is so easy to get people to sign up for Skillshare because as a student, it is amazing. It really, you spend what you would spend on one course and you get everything. It's I wouldn't want to do this where we look at a new course every single week if I had to pay for a course every time. Skillshare literally enables that to happen. And it's a funny position to be in because as a student, it really is amazing. It's super useful. I still use it. But as a teacher, I'm like, fuck you, Skillshare.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, definitely. But it's good, I like Skillshare. It's been working out for me, and see how Udemy goes. See how that goes. So I hope that goes well too.
you have any feedback on what it was like to create your course? Like, what kind of stuff did you do differently on the Udemy course versus your course that you made on Skillshare? Because you've made 2 courses now, right? This is your
Yeah,
second. So
yeah, it's
what did
about
you
the
what
same
did you
subject though.
learn? What Again, I think that the fact that it's about the same subject make these questions even better because you're more aware of the differences. Like, how did you teach something differently in the first one? Why did you decide to change the way you taught it in the second one? Like, there since you remade it, that means that you learn these things and have thought about them, right? So I'd love for you to share.
Yeah. So the Udemy course is pretty much, if you look at, both the Skillshare and Udemy course, you can just tell that I had more experience. So it's definitely good to make all my videos from scratch and do them again. And it could bring out, what I've been going through a little bit more. I could speak a little bit more about a certain topic. So the Udemy course is a little bit more better or advanced than my Skillshare course. And the Skillshare course, yeah, I jumped on there just like a straight amateur, like you said, and
You
I
made
was
it,
just,
man.
yeah,
Who
I
cares? You
made
made something.
it.
Yeah.
It
Dude,
was
if
so funny,
imagine if
man.
everybody who wants to make a course had just made 3 other courses over the past year, they would just make the 4th course. It's always better to make stuff, but yeah, of course it's going to be great if it's better. But if you're
Yeah,
not making anything, who cares if you didn't publish a perfect product? It's
exactly. You gotta
irrelevant.
start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere. It's all about getting that feedback. Start somewhere, get some feedback. All right, that's what I need to improve on. Bam, 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 and do it. And keep asking people questions, see what problems they're really going through, and so you can make videos about it and break it down to them. And do like Jack said too. Record yourself 3 times, and get the best video that you made on there. It's all about putting in work and getting it done. You know.
Can you share a bit about what your workflow was like when you were creating the course? Like,
Yeah. It's funny. I'm
when did
thinking
you
about it
record
like,
the introduction? When did you record the content, etc.?
I was doing it back when I was in Florida, and I'm like having flashbacks about it right now. I just remembered, I was like, all right, I need to start this, need to get it going. And I just set out a nice couple days to where I could do it. And I spent the whole couple days doing it, just doing the videos, stop it, check them out. And they were terrible videos. They were really bad videos. So, it's just starting somewhere, not thinking about the quality, not thinking about how your course is going to compare to someone else's course on the same subject. It's just about getting it out there and then constantly trying to get feedback for it so you can improve on it, because you're not going to see what's wrong with it like someone else is going to see what's wrong with it, or the people that you're actually trying to target. They're the ones you need to find out what are they seeing that's wrong with your course or missing from your course. So that's really important, just going out there and starting. That's what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. That's why I haven't really like changed my YouTube channel name or anything like that. It's because I'm just using it for a test run and getting videos out there, getting used
Yeah,
to it,
you
and
developing the confidence.
yeah,
That's
that's
all it
it. Yeah.
takes, man. That's what's so tricky too. Like, there's so many people I know and so many people I talk to where the reality is if they made a YouTube video every single day for 1 year, it would change their life. But I can't convince them of that. And it's also like that doesn't mean that they would get a YouTube channel that changes their life and earns them a fuckload of money or something. It just means that
Hmm.
it would cause the changes necessary in them as people to want to do more with their life and pursue the things that they complain about, right? And
Exactly.
to meet more people, and it causes all these great positive things to happen. But that doesn't mean that people do it, and that's the struggle. That's the eternal struggle.
It is so hard because I constantly talk to my coworkers about that and stuff, and some of them get really interested. They're like, all right, but I can just tell that they're not gonna follow through with it, or there's some type of belief. It's really about your beliefs and what you think is gonna really get you to where you want to be in life. So if someone's coming out to you something like new and saying like, hey, you can make $1,000 a month on the internet doing this and that, and they're like, really? Because they never thought about making money online, or they never even envisioned themselves as being the type of person who's going to be out there presenting on the
They
internet.
don't even
And then,
know it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah, yeah. But even when you show them and stuff, they're still very, very hesitant. And you're like, you just got to start somewhere, and it's very hard to get people to, take action. I still haven't even got really one person to take action on it.
It's hard to get ourselves to take action, let alone another
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
True,
And
true.
there's a lack of trust. I was in 7-Eleven about a week ago, and I just mentioned something about something I had read on the internet to this girl that works there. And she goes, "Oh, you've got to be careful about the internet. People just say anything on there. And, you can't believe everything you hear on the internet." And I was like, whoa.
Old
Like,
school.
wow. And she's like my age. I mean, she's younger than me. And I said, well, you can't. Oh, stop it, doggy. Shh, come here. You can't. I said, you can't believe everything on the 6 o'clock news either. And she goes, I don't watch that either. She said, you're talking to someone who has no idea what you're talking about. I was like, oh, okay. Wow. Thank you. At least she was honest about it. But I mean, that's, you're dealing with all different sorts of people, and they look like us, but but they may have a completely different mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
True, very much true. That's funny, man. I can't wait to get out of my job, man. All I want to do is build a YouTube team around me, and we just make videos every week.
You come visit
Ooh, that's
Nicaragua.
impressive. A YouTube team? How's that look? What's that look like? What do you picture that looking like?
Someone doing all of the thumbnails, picture, the visual aspects of it. Someone doing all my text, my copywriting, getting the keywords and stuff. And I'm just the action man doing the videos, making the plans, and let's get it done,
This is perfect stuff for VAs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I should look into that.
That's actually so I had 2 VAs when I did the dropshipping stuff, and then one of them transitioned to work on YouTube stuff, and that is what they do now. They do literally what you talked about, like thumbnailing for YouTube channels. But it was cool because at the time, I didn't realize that would become his monetized talent. I was just like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. This is how you do it. Cool. And then that turned out to be like super useful for him, and a bunch of people would pay him to just do that process of making thumbnails and stuff. So that was cool. It's something that you can find plenty of people to do.
Okay. Here we go.
And if you look at some YouTube channels, they are like producible by robots. I know this guy who makes just reviews of YouTube channels, and it's in like a robot voice that talks based on text you type to like anonymize your voice, whatever. And he just looks at the view count and then uses a base multiplier to guess how much money they make, which is incredibly inaccurate, like to the point of being irrelevant, right? Because if you just look at views, that there is a correlation. If someone has 25 million views, it's like they're more likely to have earned money from that than not. But it's completely possible to have 25 million views and have no money because it's not monetized. Like, and it was just viewed for a couple seconds and no one cared. Like, it's completely possible. It happens. So my point is that it's not factual. It's not relevant. But he earns like $500 or $600 a month just making these robotic YouTube videos. He just picks a well-known YouTube channel, keys and tags it, and then it shows up in the results of people searching for those videos.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That just shows you what's possible.
Heck, I know, it's crazy.
It probably takes them an hour or something.
Yeah. And it's the same format, same logos, just different base channel that it's about.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yes, I gotta love the internet, man. I can't even imagine trying to grow up in 1970s and stuff, trying to figure out how to become a millionaire and stuff. You're like, God dang it, save.
Yeah.
But there's always, no matter if the internet is here or not, there's always a chance that you can make money with your time. Go out there, mow some lawns, go out there and car wash, do something. There's always a way to increase your income with your time.
Absolutely. And see, it's so refreshing to hear that, because that you have to believe that in order to make it happen. And so few people believe it, but so many people would benefit from believing it, you know? Oh, it's constant frustration.
If only we can sip everybody some psychedelics or something, maybe they'll
Yeah.
break out their beliefs.
They get to be in
Yeah,
a
but if
room.
everybody did it, there'd be too much competition.
I don't know though. Imagine if like you didn't have to figure it out alone. It was just normal to be part of a group of 3 to 5 people that all cared just as much about like figuring out a way to work effectively and do what they want. I don't think that if everybody did it thing is relevant, because our society has to change so drastically for it to actually get to a point where all the humans are equally happy and you can't have a better life than other humans. Because essentially what you do with self-employment is choose to be like, no, I don't accept what's normal as the standard quality of living for myself. I believe that it is possible to have a higher quality of living, and that's something that I will provide for myself, right? But in a society where that doesn't is irrelevant, because everyone's lives are like much more well off and everyone's like doing their own thing, that's so far away. Like it's so far away. So that's not something that I think you don't need to ever worry about, like, oh, if everyone was doing it.
Oh, I'm not worried. I just thought, but if it everybody was, but
I
yeah, I
didn't
mean,
say
then the
you
world would be.
were, but people
Oh,
listening are, and that's
oh, okay.
something that people think about. That's something people
Oh,
say. It's like a common mental, like an insecurity, a trope. Um,
yeah. It doesn't matter. You're right. It's just this is where we're at now. Where, like you said, if you're willing to get on there and do something consistently, and especially if you're willing to show your face, then you're giving yourself a huge advantage, because most people can't or won't do that.
yeah. And at some point, I guess, yeah, that'll change. Like, think about children now who were babies trying to like touch photo frames and swipe them because they're used to like iPhones. And like that's a concept in the baby's freaking mind. It's 2. And it understands you can swipe a screen to change a photo. Like that, what are those kids gonna be like when they're 30? Like, I can't even fathom. Like, I feel like I'm tech advanced, but I was like 12 before I had like really started to even use a computer. I wasn't raised in computers. I was just raised by a person who liked computers, and then eventually I got into computers. But there's kids now who it's insane. Like, I can't even fathom the things that they'll be able to do with technology. Like,
But
I'd like to think I can fathom it, but I probably can't.
some will always consume and some will produce, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
But
True.
there's going to be that one kid who just like from such a young age was exposed to so much that they just become like absolutely next level, right? That's always
Yeah.
something that's amazing about children, especially now. Like the easiest way to see that the effect has had on people in general is by looking at how kids learn and being around them, especially when they're affected by technology. Because now children are able to like come across as so adult-like and talk about things in advanced detail. Because if a kid wants to learn something, they can just go to YouTube. There's literally nothing stopping them from learning about what they want to learn about if they have access to YouTube, right? That wasn't a thing before. Like, even when the internet existed,
God, no.
you could search for things, but you weren't literally going to just be able to be like, cooking tutorial, boom, boom, answer. Like, it's amazing. And that effect is why, like, whenever people complain about the current circumstance of the world, I feel frustrated because, like, I understand that things are crappy, but so many of us humans here on Earth are able to step out of the problems in our lives and live much better lives. That is an option for almost all of us. We can change our location. We have this freedom. Most of the world isn't forced into labor. It's not forced into violence. There's places where that's true, But as little as a couple generations ago, that was the whole world. That was how most people's experiences were. There were people who lived for 30, 40 years constantly being in violence, trying to find a safe place to be. Like, that hugely hampered creativity, it hugely hampered technological advancement, all that stuff. So anytime anyone complains about the world now or worries about it, it's like, yeah, there are worries now. But historically, we are at like, there's the chance of things going wrong, but there's so fewer things going wrong than like 50 years ago or 100 years ago. Like, so many fewer. It just seems like there's more because we're more aware. We can actually know what's happening in Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa. That wasn't even possible before. That was literally impossible 2 or 3 generations ago. There was only what people thought was happening. Stereotypes were so much stronger. And that's so important. Like, I'm getting energetic about this now because this is really important that you understand you live in a time where you really can separate yourself from the kind of lives most people live just by taking advantage of the technology that's around you. All you have to do is change how you perceive it and think that that's real, think it's possible. You should associate the internet with earning money from stuff you like to do. That should be what it means to you. It's not a place where the cats are. It's not a meme history. It's not wasting your time with social media on Facebook. It is the thing that earns you freedom and money. But a lot of people don't think that way, so I don't know.
Yeah, imagine being a kid of the 70s like me. When I would ask my mom a question, she'd say either I don't know or
Like the
go
Bible?
look it up. We have encyclopedias upstairs. Go look it up.
Encyclopedias!
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Yeah,
And they would
and they
be
were
like, there'd
old
be
too.
like
They
8
weren't
of
like,
them on a shelf, right? Like, this is volume 1, this is volume 2.
yeah, 10 to 20. I'm surprised you're even asking, but yeah, I mean, that's what they were. And then you had to look it up, and it wasn't like up to the minute information or anything. It was pretty,
Up to the
pretty basic,
30-year period.
something like that, just pretty basic information. And, and then there's no interaction or anything, with the forum type thing, or certainly nothing like this. So, I mean, I hated it because I was naturally inquisitive and I was always asking her questions, and she'd just be like, I don't know. Look it up. And then we did have a library, but, I'm a kid. I can't just go to the library whenever I want. And same problem too. It's not up to the minute. And it's, so, I did a lot of reading, but certainly not the same as what we have now.
That's
Not even
insane. The access to
so. Yeah,
information has
you got it
changed.
good. Yeah, but still, like you said, the mindset has to change. I mean, I still have a kind of an, even though I have a home-based business, I guess you could call it, I still have, still struggle with believing that I can make money on the internet, because I haven't
You
succeeded
just
at
need a
anything yet.
bit more time, another year or two.
Yeah,
I
and
I
maybe
still
I'm
don't completely always all the time believe that. Most of the time I'm super confident, but there's plenty of times that have shown me that even once you have the lifestyle you want, you aren't necessarily always going to feel happy with it. That's not going to be a constant state. So that helps me because I always thought, oh, if I was my own boss, if I was free, I just wouldn't have these mental problems and blockades and obstacles. But the reality is, no matter what life circumstance you have, they still exist, and you have to confront those if you really want to progress. That makes sense? But it's tricky.
Yeah, you have to tell yourself a different story. Like, instead of telling myself, I don't know if I can do it, I guess I just have to say, just keep going, just keep going, just keep
Yep.
going. Because, I try to do things.
But
And
that's
part of the
perfect
problem
what you
was I
just
didn't,
said. That's a perfect parallel because you didn't say with full confidence, I just got to keep going. You said, I guess I got to say, and then confidently you said, I just got to keep going. So you are so close. You're almost there. And that's so much better than like just being like, I don't know. You can hear it in people's voice, like you don't have to know the details of their life. You just have to hear their tone, hang out with them on multiple occasions, figure out if that tone is regular for them or if they just had a bad day. And if that tone's regular, they're probably not going to do the things they say that they're going to do. That's like a rule that works with almost all people. It's irritatingly accurate.
somebody asked me if you would check the chat.
Oh, yeah, I
Somebody,
can do that. I haven't looked at the
Somebody
chat at
texted
all.
me or whatever.
Okay, let's see. We can go. There aren't that many. I'll start from the top and I'll just read all of them. Okay? So, Elmer Perez says, What's up, Elmer? Says, how's the Nicaraguan weather? It is awesome. Actually, right now it's the dry season. I prefer the wet season because I really like rain. And even in the wet season, there's like sunny days every other day, every other day. And I'm happy with like 2 sunny days a week. I love the rain. It makes me feel super happy. I don't know why. I was raised in desert, so it was super rare. I didn't see it much until I was like 12. So maybe that's why it was super special, and it still feels like awesome. Whenever it rains, I feel like an energy. It wakes me up. I feel like, yeah, I want to go outside and stare into the clouds and contemplate, I don't know, something. So it's the dry season. It's not raining much, but it's warm. And I'm going back to the States in a month, and there's snow there. I'm not ready for that. I don't want to be ready for that. Then Brahim says hello. Unknown says hi, bro. Broing Ortega says hi, Jack. Hi, Rita. Duncan says hi, Jack. And hi, Rita. How are your days? How do you respond, Rita?
So that's Broing?
No, this is Duncan.
Oh, hi, Duncan. Yeah, Duncan's the one that asked me to check the chat. Is that it? Anyway, Duncan's a really cool dude. I hope we can get him on the show sometime. The chat.
No, it's a show. It's basically a show.
Yeah. Duncan is really cool. He was involved with Chris Lynn, and he was on the Discord that Chris had, the Discord group that Chris had. I don't know if it's still around, but
yeah, I recognize his name.
Yeah, he does ephemera, which is he sells paper goods like old envelopes and letters and things that people collect, and he's done very well with it. And so he was really good on the Discord group, just helping people learn about eBay and just answering questions and stuff like that. So really nice guy. He says he doesn't want to come on because he doesn't like his voice, but I hope he'll give it a try sometime.
Dude, nobody likes their own voice. You know how often I've been in a room and someone like starts watching one of my YouTube videos and I hear my voice? You know what I do? I leave the room. I'm like, fuck that shit. I don't want to be around that. It seems I still to this day do not feel comfortable if I'm in the same room as someone and they're watching a video of mine. I just don't like it. It's like I can learn to act like I'm fine, but I never like it. I always want to leave. I always don't want to hear it. And I make videos all the time. You can't let that stop you. It's just part of the process. Trust us, everyone feels that way.
Yep, and everybody has something to offer.
You just got to be able to put your words out there, and then put enough words out there. Eventually, some of them become valuable.
Yeah, because Duncan's actually creating a course right now. So he's going to have to promote it somehow.
Okay. Johnny Math says, just starting some WordPress sites now. That's pretty awesome. If you're still listening, Johnny, tell us why you picked WordPress. What are you doing? I need to ask people one question instead of like 4. I did that to Rita and then immediately did it to Bray afterwards, and I was like, God damn it. Because for me, I'm just trying to give it context. I'm like, these are the kinds of things you should talk about. This is an example. Here's an example. Here's another example. Good luck. Go. But it almost always means that only one of the questions gets answered. But maybe that's better. Could be more comfortable. What do you guys think?
Well, if only one of the questions get answered, you got to slow it down there, buddy. I don't know. I mean, if the questions are all similar and stuff, maybe just ask the question again that you really wanted the answer to, or you think that there will be some value coming out of it.
Well, the goal's not so much to get an answer to a specific question. It's more to transition the talking person to another. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because like we're like doing a performance as a team, and that's something that's also happening. But at the same time, we're talking to each other.
It's just opening it up, and they're going to talk about whatever's on their mind anyway. Probably as long as they have an opportunity, feel like they're being heard, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. Like I'm thinking of the mindset that somebody who's brand new into the calls and isn't comfortable yet probably has, not someone who's become more comfortable. Do you guys
Okay.
notice that my microphone broke?
No, you sound good. I can't.
Zoom does good things to audio. It can make a bad microphone sound pretty decent. And in a lot of my recordings, it's like I wouldn't make any course stuff right now because I'm not happy with with the audio, um, especially with like fans and all sorts of other noise.
Or use your headphone microphone to do the courses?
Usually I use Yeti,
Okay, yeah, that's so.
but the USB port completely fucked up, so it doesn't work at all anymore. So I got to get a new microphone. And in Nicaragua, microphones and any kind of specialty tech are double or triple price. So realistically, I'm just going to wait until I'm back in the States. And
That'll cost you a couple months' rent.
no, less than I'll get a new one. I'll get like probably the next version for like $90, something like that.
How long did your first one last?
I've gone through 3.
Oh,
But
wow.
each one lasted
Wow.
like a year, basically. But keep in mind,
You do
I was
well?
buying them as cheap as possible used on eBay every single time. And they all failed
Oh,
the exact same way, which is why I'm not getting the same model again.
Ah, okay. Did you have the snowball or no?
No, I had the Blue Yeti.
Okay, okay. I had the snowball. That's what I was using.
Yeah, the snowballs are nice. I've never used them, but the Yeti mics in general have a really good reputation. And like I really liked the one I had, but I can't not notice that I had 3 and they all had the exact same failure. That seems a bit odd. Usually, when you have multiple, they fail in different ways and
Mm-hmm.
not as reliably. Like the same thing happened to each one. And basically, the USB port is really weak, or something about the connection they use. And it doesn't matter if you get a new cable, it just eventually, over time, becomes very unreliable. So your microphone will disconnect and reconnect, like in the middle of speaking. And the the tone of the voice becomes distorted as well because the electrical signal is distorting based on this plug. So like that specific USB port that they used isn't reliable in the long run. And what I understand now is it's not so much that they picked a bad USB port; it's that it's micro USB, which is an old standard. Now like USB-C is like those circular Thunderbolt ports, like these actually. This is like the standard now. It's like completely symmetrical, right? And
Yep,
one
yep.
of the reasons these are standard, it's not just about like data transmission and that kind of thing. It's also just about durability. And the old USB micro, USB mini, all these ports, they have like a less symmetric design. You can't like flip it upside down and that kind of thing. And inherently, over time, that connection wears out. No matter like how good you make that kind of socket, over time, it wears out faster than a connection that has less intricacies in it. And you can
probably
also,
because, probably because half the time you're putting it in wrong, right? And then it kind of
yeah,
messes it up. That's what I
yeah.
think. That's what I assume.
It's a lot of the time it's just stress from the act of the item being plugged in and this movement. That is usually the exact movement that causes the problem over time. Like with my Yeti, for example, I very rarely, like I would unplug the cable from my computer, but I very rarely would unplug the cable from the Yeti. And I also had the wire wrapped around the base of the Yeti because I knew about this problem, and I knew if you have too much pressure on the USB port that it'll cause problems in the future. But even that wasn't enough to prevent it from happening. And I did that pretty regularly and reliably. So now I'm just going to be
Um,
like, I'm either going to get, I don't know, to get one that is the next version. They basically made a smaller version, or to specifically look for a microphone with like one of these kind of USB-C ports. I'm not sure, to be honest. But what's great is that um, there's like 2 clients of mine that have been using my affiliate link in Card Bazaar. So now I have like a couple $100 in Walmart gift cards. So when I go to the States, I can get any microphone Walmart sells basically for free. which will be nice.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah, those videos are super lucky. There was a series like I have 2 or 3 videos that are each 5 minutes and just show one gift card website that people actually use sometimes. And so now I just get like occasionally I'll get a $100 or $200 a month, or normally it's like 30, $50, but sometimes it spikes and suddenly there's like larger amounts of people using it. Cool.
That's so cool. That's really neat.
And that's something anyone can do. If you can get people, like, if you can identify a group of people that would benefit from purchasing gift cards online and like selling them or whatever, using them for whatever reason, then you can earn money off of that. You don't need an audience. Like, it's not a necessary part. Anybody could just make a YouTube video about a service like this and then connect the right people with that YouTube video on forums and on places where people are already listening and already watching, and earn money from that. And that's something that I really encourage people to think about, because if you're running a YouTube channel and you're not at the point where you understand exactly what kind of content you want to make and the kind of YouTube channel, that means you're in like phase 1, which is where you are making loads and loads of content. Or actually, no, I guess that's phase 2, because phase 1 is getting yourself to the point where you're regularly making content. And then phase 2 would be actually being at that point where you're making a lot of content. And you basically stay in that stage until your picture of exactly what you need to do is so clear in your mind that you just know what it is. You don't need to like go learn anything more about it. You've already done that and you feel confident that this is what you want to do. And that's like the kind of transition out of the mentality that you need to create loads and loads and loads of content and into the mentality that you need to be more specific. But the trouble is that people worry too much about being specific and it stops them from ever starting. And that's the state that most people exist in. So you're better off not trying to do that in the beginning and just creating the content. That's more realistic. It's much more likely that you're going to educate yourself and succeed if you use that mentality versus if you're like, oh no, I gotta wait and I gotta study and I just gotta make the perfect product. You can't do that unless you make a ton of products. And then you can actually know, okay, based on my experience and what I know, this is what the perfect product will be. Then there's a reasonable factor that that's going to work. Whereas if you are just educating yourself and you're not getting that experience, it's theoretical. And also, it's theoretical if you're just getting experience, but you're not educating yourself. You really want to combine both of those worlds. And then, like, it shouldn't be theoretical. Like there's a distinction for me between this Spanish content website and everything I've done in the past. Like, even the dropshipping course, I felt confident that that would do well, but I hadn't yet experienced that. I was still new to meeting people who were self-employed, who sold courses. That was all new to me. I was used to being surrounded by employed people. I wasn't well connected yet. It was a very different time in my life. But there's definitely a marked difference with a Spanish content website, because I know that if it doesn't work, it's not that like there was something wrong with the idea, it's that I didn't polish it enough. But I know that these people exist, I know they have needs, and I know I have information that can meet those needs. There's nothing about me that can change that from being true. Only time could change the circumstance of the country and of like information online to make that not true. It's here, it's real, and that's something that is different, because I didn't have that degree of confidence before. I didn't have something that I knew that was always in my mind. This will lead to something. I don't know if it's going to make a load of money. I don't know what, but it is something that I can do that is the best shot I have at earning money while also doing it in an ethical way on a large scale that really helps people and focuses on that instead of focusing on earning money. Because that's something that I've kind of struggled with in my path to course creation, is because you essentially have to make a choice. Do you want, you want to be a course creator, you want to earn money selling courses. You have to decide between two paths. Do you sell your courses for loads of money and accept the reality that the vast majority of your students will never actually earn more money from you than they spent on you, and earn more money for your personal life this way? Or do you sell it for a much more affordable price, make it so that the person only has to earn 10 or $20 to actually have earned money from interacting with you and reach thousands more people, but overall earn less money. And almost all people who do it full time will take that first route. They will take the route that earns them more money. But the problem is that I don't think that this necessarily earns you more happiness. This route puts you directly in a position where you are highly likely to be around people who are more fake, and you do not feel as much authenticity with people. Whereas if you focus on being good to people and you leave a positive impression on people, you don't really do enough bad things. Like, okay, I'm not saying that it's bad to sell a course for $1,000, but if every time you sell a course, somebody paid $1,000 for it, it's way more likely that they're gonna lose most of that money than it is that they're gonna earn it. That is a reality. The vast majority of those people will never earn anything close to that much money from the information that you're selling,
It's
even
kind
if
of
it's
bad
completely
juju.
valid.
Kind of bad juju, because you just, even if you didn't do anything wrong, you're going to have a lot of people kind of mad. And that's not like, you don't want to have that out in the universe, I don't think.
But that's the
It wouldn't
problem.
feel
For a
good.
lot of course creators, that's the norm. Like if you seriously are like, okay, I want to become a course creator. I'm going to sell Udemy courses. I'm going to sell on Teachable. That's what you're taught to do. It's
No, I get it. I get it. But it's, you know, it's my whole life has been about trying to find things where I could live with what I was doing, that I felt good about it. So it's exactly what you're talking about. I love it. You really put it very well when you talked about you're gaining trust and people are getting to know you, and you're giving a lot of information for free. So you're just giving so much that, and then your courses are reasonably priced. You can feel good about it, and I don't know, maybe you won't become a millionaire, but I'd rather be a happy not millionaire than an unhappy millionaire, really.
I'd be happy if I'm never a millionaire, but I would like to be 100,000aire while living in Nicaragua. That would definitely be a
Sure.
point where I would be able to make, like, I would be able to be involved financially on large scale products. I don't think my life, like my personal life, I don't think would change that much, but my involvement with bigger things would change. Like I would be more able to fund things and experiment and learn about like more large scale influential stuff if I had more money here, especially given that it's one of the places in the world with the cheapest labor and the cheapest materials. And having a lot of money, that just enables you to do so many more things. Like it's completely feasible. I could live a life where I have a period of a year or two where I make a bunch of gardening content and I set up like a greenhouse, whatever, and then I give someone a full-time job of just maintaining that place, and it costs me like $6,000 a year to finance this whole person's year. I could have like 2 people like that, and then I would only have to earn that much money from the content that job creates, right? Like there's so many potentials for what you can do, like that, not even just from like a business setting here, but from the combination of online content and like giving people jobs of maintaining stuff specifically for it to grow to a point where I can make interesting content about what they're doing after I've taught them how to do it. That is a position where like I'm also teaching more people, which makes me more intellectual and more capable and pushes me to succeed and grow more. There's definitely a lot of like, there are reasons that I'm here, and if I don't earn more money at some point, I will feel like I am not living to my fullest. Like I now have the things I want personally, but I know that I could be a much more positive influence than I already am to the people around me and to the people that I live like in the country with. And I think that's something that like you kind of have to trade here, because it is true that as a Westerner or as someone from the US, if you come to Nicaragua, you're probably way better off. You're more likely to be able to meet people. People are going to be nicer and kinder to you. And it's true that some of them are being manipulative because they want to be associated with money. But that's also just like another thing that makes you more appealing in the beginning of an interaction that leads to you having friends. It's easy to meet people here. It's way easier than it is in your country of origin typically, and it changes so many things just by being here. But that isn't necessarily true for the Nicaraguans. They are already here, so the only way they can benefit from that is if they then combine it with the U.S. economy from the online income stuff. Otherwise, the fact that everything's so cheap is coupled with the fact that it's so hard to earn money. So that's what I have to figure out. How can I show them that the only obstacle is a mentality thing, and they think life has to be a lot harder than it actually does. So that will be a learning experience.
But that's why you're going to be happier, is because everything you're doing centers on helping people, not just helping yourself.
Yeah, and that's the stronger motivation for me in particular. Like, I only care so much about myself. I don't want to have more. Like, I like the idea of it, but I'm not motivated enough. Whereas if I'm put in a situation where I see that I can make a difference in other people's lives, that force is stronger. I care more about that, and I end up making more because of that. Whereas if I just think about myself, and I don't mean to, like, I'm not, it's important. I don't want to come across as like, oh, you should just help people, that kind of stuff. Because for me, this isn't I want to help people thing. It's I want fulfillment. I want to be happy. I want to be able to enjoy playing a video game and not feel like I'm wasting my life. I want to be present and be happy with that and not feel like I need to do something on a computer or I need to do something to get a bill paid. I want all of these things. These things are really important to me. And so I know that the key to that is to making a difference in other people's lives, not just focusing on your own. But I want you guys to understand that it's not like I'm just like, oh, you should just be good to people. Because for me, it is true that that's what I'm trying to do, but it is for reasons of self-interest. I'm happier when I'm good to people. I'm more productive when I'm good to people,
Yeah, people have talked about that for a long time. There's nothing that's 100% altruistic. Part of the reason we do altruistic things is because it makes us feel good. And that's perfect.
We lost you in the middle of perfect, Rita. I will keep reading. Oh, you're back.
There you go.
Oh. There's no such thing as perfect altruism, not 100%, because most of the reason we do things like that is because it makes us feel good when we do good things. So it's very normal.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to keep trying to get through these comments. We're like halfway done now. Then Duncan VR said they are updating the power grid here in Sydney today, going to lose power for 5 hours. What do I do with no computer for 5 hours? And then said Rita's YouTube videos are awesome. What would I do without power? That's just like semi-normal here. The power went out today, but it was only for like 30 minutes. 5 hours is a long time. I would sleep or cook. Yeah, cook fried chicken. There's so much fried chicken in the other house. I'm so hungry. I helped make it and then got on this call. So I did all the cooking prep stuff and then didn't do the eating part. And I've been able to smell it the entire time. So as soon as this call's done, I'm going to go eat a bunch of fried chicken and it's going to be awesome. I forgot what the original thing was. Oh yeah, what would you guys do for 5 hours without power?
Would I have a telephone?
Yeah, I guess, sure. You have a telephone with internet connection.
Yeah, I'd call a friend or my mom or get on some phone calls and probably sleep.
That's a good usage. It's always good to reach out to people. It's a great example of something that when you start, you're like, no, I don't want to do this. This is going to be stressful. But then when you call them, it's like, oh, hey, I actually care about this person. I'm glad to hear they're doing okay. They're alive.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It does generally energize you to talk to another human being. I don't know why. It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah, I probably do the same thing as Rita. Go take a good old nap. I don't know, maybe work out or something, and help somebody out. They need help. There's like, you know, if there was like a storm that came through and knocked down the power grid, like Puerto Rico or something, everybody needed help.
What up, Amina?
So
Yeah, that'd be cool. Sorry, I said that'd be cool because you were talking about a storm, and I really like storms, and it's the dry season, and it constantly looks like it's gonna rain, and then doesn't rain. That's normal here. Okay, let's try and get through all these comments. RK Coding says, hi, I'm really good at teaching iOS development in my first language. I wanted to create course in Teachable in English for the first time online, but it took me 17 hours for 10 minutes of video. I give up. I'm sorry. It is hard to create content in another language. You essentially have to create the entire course in your base language and then translate it. You're probably better off that way than doing it like one video at a time. For me, it's a bit different. Like, I'm creating this course in Spanish, but I've been around Spanish speakers regularly. It's part of my everyday life. So it's not like I'm trying to create a course in a foreign language, if that makes sense. Ah, holy crap! Gracias! Oh, qué rico! Ah, this is the food.
dang, man. Okay, all that for what, $5?
Probably. Well, this is all we cooked it, so it would be substantially less based per serving.
Yeah.
We cooked like
Ah,
maybe like 15 servings. It's for like a bunch of people. I'm just eating a little bit of it, and they're eating it. Them and their employees are eating it at their business for the next like 2 days. So we made a whole bunch of it, and then like I just get a little bit of it. Now I'm hyped.
and there's no Walmarts out there, right?
We actually do. We have 2 Walmarts in Managua. Walmart
Wow.
here is like a fancy store. It's weird. And they also own the competition, sort of. There's this other store
Wow.
called Maxi Pali, and basically the cheapest place to get stuff is always in the market. But if you're going to a supermarket, the cheapest one is Pali or Maxi Pali. Okay? Maxi Pali and Pali are in Latin America. They're big green stores. They're really common here. I think they're in a couple countries, including Nicaragua. That company is owned by Walmart, but it's not Walmart, right? So they own it. They have authority over it. But it's interesting here because in the States, Walmart is the cheapest place to get food, or like it's one of the cheapest options. Whereas here, it's not. It's like where like the upper middle class people shop. It's like got the Whole Foods vibe. So it's super funny because they actually own the Pali company and sell the same products and brands, but they're just more expensive at Walmart. Like, because of the brand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. Got an American feel at Walmart. Makes them feel fancy, huh? Oh, interesting. I was wondering about that. Yeah.
You can find pretty much everything except stuff you would get from Amazon. Luxury Card Store says, I have that software. It uses the same voices that Amazon Alexa uses. It's called Vocalizer. I know a guy that made a video on how to make a website using Bluehost and earns a buttload of money from the affiliate link. That's cool. Duncan VR says, not me. My eBay guidebook will be only $45, not $3,000. Nice. 45 is a good price. Quendadine says, you're so right, Jack, so true. I know because I paid 2,500 USD for a course that was crap. Oh, man. I'm sorry. That's all the comments. We did all the comments, guys. Okay, we gotta move forward. We gotta pick our course. We gotta pick our tasks. Anyone want to start with either? Any suggestions? I want to eat this food.
Well, I had the task if we was gonna do the chat on Saturday, but I think it's still good for me to make it my goal because the day's still here, not done yet. So I was going to make it my what's it called? What were we calling it? Like obligation, or no, it's like a damn, I'm trying to think of
Accountability?
the right word. Yeah, accountability. There you go. So my accountability of the week is to not smoke today. Don't want to smoke any today.
Okay, that's doable. I like for that subject, that length of goal is perfect. I go through periods of time where, like, I beat myself up for smoking. I'm talking about marijuana, not tobacco. But then I also go through periods of time where I stop smoking, and I see that my life was super traumatic, and I haven't gone through everything, and I'm pretty depressed and lonely, and we just kind of takes the edge off, and it makes me a little bit less productive, but I'm more positive and cheerful. And in my life, content produced while positive and cheerful really is the thing that has changed things for me, and growing that mentality. So it's interesting because I often am harsh on myself, but the reality is, like, when I'm in a mood that's productive, it doesn't matter if I'm stoned or drinking or sober or whatever, I do the thing I need to do. It's like almost independent of what my headspace is. I don't know how to explain that though. Because it's not like I'm always like that, but there's times where, realistically, if you feel that you should do less and you do that and you follow through, you're going to feel better. You're going to work on stuff. And then when you do partake, it's going to be more enjoyable.
Right, right. There you go. That's funny too because I use weed as like an enabler. So whenever I want to knock something out the park, I'll just go ahead and take a couple puffs, and but usually it's with like a tobacco leaf and stuff. So it gives me that nicotine stimulant
Yeah, you have a
effect.
bit of a stimulant. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some interesting studies about marijuana usage that show that, so in general, with all drugs and pharmaceuticals, the placebo effect is very real and very strong. It's one of the most documentable effects that there are. You can just tell somebody that something works, and a measurable percentage of the time, it will actually fix the problem. That's real. The brain can actually do that, even with no actual chemistry reason to do it, right? And so a lot of studies about marijuana indicate that something about THC kind of activates that even further. So if you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to smoke weed and I'm going to be lazy and I'm not going to do anything, then that's what's going to probably happen. Whereas if you tell yourself, I'm getting stoned now and now I'm going to do something creative, I'm going to do this, and then you go and do it, or you go out on a run. Like, there's plenty of people who get really stoned immediately before jogging for an hour, and then there's equally as many people who get really stoned and stay in a couch for 4 hours and blame the weed. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah, some people be smoking and I'm like, I ain't about to do shit. And I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, I understand.
It's too funny. It's too funny.
Moderation's always best though with everything in life. You got to find that
Yeah,
balance.
that's what I try to preach, try to do it like on the schedule, or I don't know. Just don't do it just to do it and hanging out with your friends. That's how you end up doing too much, and
Yeah.
your body lets you know too. There's a big it's not a big problem yet, but it's turning into a problem in Colorado, the first state that legalized. It's actually a disorder that you can get for smoking too much cannabis, and it's called something, but pretty much
I
you,
want to
you
know what the
throw up.
name is, Dan.
I know. I used to remember the name because I was like, oh wow, I didn't know this. But yeah, it comes from chronic users, and just using it too much, your body's like, all right, I need to stop. I need a break, and it makes people throw up. And even when they're not using, they're still throwing up. And the only thing
Dang.
to the only thing to calm it down is hot showers, and it's crazy. It's crazy, and they just got to completely stop smoking for a while
So it's
before the
like a
symptoms calm
hysteria,
down.
sort of?
Like what?
Like a hysteria as well? That you're really nauseous and hysteric, or you're just nauseous?
You're just really nauseous, and don't even know why you're sick or anything like that. It's just straight stomach action, nauseous, and the
Okay.
hot showers are the only medicine for it.
So your stretch or your accountability thing is to not smoke today. That's it, right? Just
Yep.
okay. And what is
There is
what is defined as today for you? 12:01 or when you go to sleep? Just out of curiosity.
12:01.
12:01. Nice.
Yep. Make sure.
Okay. That's very specific. It's a
Yeah.
very specific goal. Go on, Rita.
well, I won't belabor this because I know you want to eat, but
We have so much. We
there
still got to pick our course.
I know. Well, there's been some. Just look it up yourselves. Then there just does seem to be a little correlation, according to some researchers, between long-term cannabis use and schizophrenia in some people. So I don't know if you already have to have a
I lived
more
with
of a.
someone who had schizophrenia, and I saw how that changed when they started smoking weed. It definitely did not help at all.
Okay, yeah, and this is different. They're just saying long-term use may lead to schizophrenia. So who knows?
That makes sense. No,
I
I
mean,
mean,
and I would
if you're using marijuana regularly, you are becoming more open to hallucination. It is
yeah,
something your brain, even when you stop using it, your brain is created by all the experience you had. And if a lot of those experiences were hallucinations, it's easier for you to hallucinate than a person who never had those years and years
yeah.
of
And
experiences.
I grew
That
up
makes
with
a
a
lot of
couple
sense.
of girls. I grew up with a couple of girls that became regular pot smokers. That's what we used to call it in the old days, pot.
People still call it pot.
Anyway, yeah. But both of those women, they just really haven't. Not that I know some people are fine, but I'm just saying both of those women just didn't really. They're just not in a place I'd like to be in. But anyway,
Did they
I'll
drink
go on to
alcohol?
my.
Out of
Huh?
curiosity.
Hmm?
Did they consume alcohol?
Some, but they were more like. Oh,
That
it's
was
like
their
when I
thing.
talk. The dog starts barking as soon as I start talking. Like kids. Um, yes, they did a little, but there were more. It was more of the pot. Then they, so it was just daily, and so whatever. Take it for what it's worth. They're in their 50s now, and they're not in good places. So anyway, my goal, but I'm not sure how to go about it. I want to promote when I make my videos. I want to promote them more, but I don't know the best way to do that.
Forums.
So
Definitely forums. It's
okay.
honestly the really best way is for you to regularly browse multiple different forums and then look at the kinds of questions people ask. And when you have that desire to make a video, you literally think about something someone said and you make a video in response to that. And then you
Mm,
share the video on that forum. Because if you do it that way, they are highly likely to actually look at your link. And in general, getting people to look at links you're sharing is like maybe 1% of people will look at it if it's not directly relevant to what they're looking for. And that's something I beta tested or AV tested a bit with some of my recent content. Particularly with the World of Warcraft video. It's about a video game, right? I went into multiple different forums about this specific procedure and shared this guide, and you can track all that traffic, and it does actually result in traffic. You can expect like between 1 and 10 kind of initial views for a video per place that you post if it's relevant to people. And then this will give YouTube more initial data for them to calculate average view durations and that kind of thing, which increases the chance that then YouTube will push your content.
okay. That makes a lot of
And it's
sense.
free.
Now does it have to be a recent question? Should
That
it
is
be like
better. Yes, that
okay.
is better.
Okay.
But really, people are searching, like, say that it's not a recent question, but it's on a forum with a lot of traffic, and you posting the answer, as long as it's relevant to people, really, and as long as you also want to make a video about it, the
Yeah.
thing is, you just have to be looking every day and being aware of, okay, what are the forums that people are interested in this kind of subject? Where are dog talkers and dog walkers communicating? What are the major places? What are all the well-known names? Who are the distributors of information about this? Like, you got to be well versed in all that, and then from that point you're going to know, okay, these websites are good for me to find leads and then make videos about them and then share them here, etc., etc.
Okay, so I think my goal will be to find the 3 most active dog sitter or dog walker type
Nice.
forums.
That's solid.
Does that sound
That sounds
doable?
super solid. Find 3 most. I like that too because that's easy for me to learn from. Because you will say what they are, and then I can go look at them.
Okay. We'll talk about it when I call you. I want to find out more. Like, I don't know if I research properly on YouTube, like to find out what my competition is. I don't really see that much for somebody who's consistently making dog sitter content. I see lots of different things, but it's not really too consistent as far as I can tell, unless I'm missing something.
It's kind of, there's one little trick you can use is to look at one of your videos that you've already posted in an incognito tab, and then just see what YouTube recommends after your video finishes. That's
okay.
a good way
I
to find like other related content, and it also teaches you exactly what YouTube is showing. Like that video is what YouTube thinks is most relevant to someone who just watched your video. So you should develop an understanding of the kinds of videos. Is YouTube always recommending the same video? If you look at all the videos on your channel and you go to the end, is it recommending the same video on all of them, or is it different? You have to like study all of that stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that incognito thing, because I looked back, I was doing research. I'm like, look, mine's like number 3. And then I'm like, no, it's probably just because.
Yeah, you're looking from your account.
Yeah.
And you've also searched for your content. So there's 2 factors there that would increase the chance.
I just look up dog sitting, I don't get too.
But I mean, you've published videos, so your cookies show that you were in the URL of that video.
Okay.
So in addition, that's the second factor. You're logged into the account, and by posting videos, you show a history of using the videos that you posted. So it's 2 reasons the algorithm's more likely to show you your own content.
Incognito solves all that. I don't need a VPN or anything. Incognito will do the trick.
Yep, because then you're looking at what YouTube shows without any kind of account preference, because it doesn't have one. It just is showing what it thinks is relevant to someone watching that video.
Okay.
Cross-referencing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so for me, it has to be something about the Spanish content website. I think I'm comfortable to do Monday through Friday each day. I have to do translation work. That doesn't mean I have to publish a video each day. It means that at least once per day on the weekday, I have to translate Spanish to English, specifically as part of the relevant content that's already outlined on this wall. I can't just go make fried chicken and talk in Spanish and then claim that counts. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you're being more intentional.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I have to translate once per day, Monday through Friday. So, I'm pretty much open to whatever kind of courses you guys want to make or want to do. Is there any subject that's more relevant to one of you?
I don't have nothing in mind. Unless you want to check out that course that you posted.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do that again. That was a good one. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Nice.
Actually, but I didn't know if you guys would want to. That's great. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Will you post it again?
I'll share it again. It's all good. I can do that now, actually. Let me look in the chat real quick.
And Bray and I have a pretty good thing going informally, but we haven't talked about it. But we've been kind of supporting each other's videos. So when he makes a video, I get on. I was watching them anyway, but I make sure and like it, and I make sure and leave a comment if I have a question or something. And he's been kind of doing the same with my videos. So I guess that's one way we can help each other get our view time up and things like that. And then it also helps the other person, it's feedback, you know.
For sure, for sure. It's great that Jack made it this community so we can come together. People who really want to do something on the internet, we can come together and help each other out, because that's really how a lot of Instagram pages grow. They get in these DM groups, and as soon as one posts, all of them, about 20 of them, will go ahead and engage with that content so it can get boosted up real fast. So
I've heard about something like that. They even call them syndicates sometimes, don't they?
I haven't heard that. I just heard DM groups.
DM group. Like what platform is that on? A DM group? What do you mean? Like
Instagram, direct message groups.
On Instagram. On Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. It's just, DM means direct message. So you're sending a direct message to someone, you make a group out of 20 pages and stuff. And usually they just need 2, maybe 3 big pages with a couple 100,000 followers. And those are the ones that are mostly bringing that algorithm kick
Friend
to
setting,
get you.
yeah. They establish social proof, and then it just gets pushed.
Yeah.
But they don't have 100,000 people in their DM group, do they?
No. It's usually only like 10 to 20 of them, and then they just help each other out.
That's great. I love it. Is it okay that I post my videos in our group, or is there a certain place I should be putting them rather than in the general
That's
thread?
Fine. I guess I could make a place for something more specific, but the general is the one people are most likely to look at, and it's actually relevant to people, which is a new trend.
Yeah, maybe until things pick up in there, we got more people.
Things may never pick up, to be honest. Like, it's completely possible this group will kind of stay pretty much the same way it is. I'm not personally trying to grow this to be bigger or to become super interactive. I really like the way it is. Like, there's other things I want to grow in my life, but I'm not fussed.
Cool.
All right, guys. Anything else? I'm super hungry. I'm impatient. I want to eat.
Go eat your chicken, Jack. Thank you.
See you guys.
Yes.
Ciao.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye.